Dr. Adam holds a PhD in neuropsychology and a master's in cognitive developmental psychology, as well as 2 undergraduate degrees in biology and psychology. She studied the cognitive and memory functions in psychoforensic, right? Thank you. Schizophrenia patients at the NIMH, I was trying to spell it out, but NIMH Brain Disorder Center. She has a rich, leading-edge knowledge and training in the biopsychological and energy sciences. So thank you so much. So I know Sina shared a very private moment with us, but she's not the only one. There are many EOLs, Takelas, and we're docents and within our community. So first I want to get started I'm going to get started with trying to identify when we say mental wellness and health, what are we talking about? If you can start us off, Doctor.
Well, before I answer the question, I just want to say hello, and I still link it, we are going to mix English and Amharic, so we can get all the information that is needed. First of all, I thank the people who prepare this event. It's very important, timely, if not, I don't want to say we're late, but it is the most appropriate time to talk about what we're going to be talking about. And the other person that I want to really appreciate, Sena Mariam, is so courageous to talk about what she's talking and she shared with us. And her story is, like she said, a lot of people's story. Either we are caregiver or we are receiver on the other end. So it is not a small segment of our people, or people in general, suffer from mental illness. So what do we mean by mental illness, or what do we mean by mental wellness? Why did we call, in fact, this gathering as a mental wellness instead of illness? We're talking about illness, not from being ashamed about it, but it is very important to take a perspective of wellness than the disease modality that we've been working on. So the disease modality is always talking about the disease and the problem, and as if it is never changing. So it is a new approach that a lot of people in my field are taking. Instead of the illness or the shortcoming approach, we want to see wellness approach. So I'm just going to categorize so we can open it, and the other panelists can also address. What do we mean by mental illness? Within the profession, I can give you, at least from what Sanai mentioned, 3-4 major categories what we mean by mental illness. One of it is what she mentioned, EOL suffered. That is a neurodevelopmental problem, a neurodevelopmental connected illness. So the young boy that suffered. And so there are different people that are not catching up with what is the norm in terms of behavioral or emotional or intellectual functioning. So that's a different kind of illness. And then, like her uncle Takala suffers from Alzheimer's and dementia type of illness, that is also a neurodegenerative disease, meaning that our brain is degenerating, is not cleaning, is not producing the right chemistry, the right chemical, the right connection. So it is going back, it is neurodegenerative. Those are the dementias, the Alzheimer's. So these are 2 different kind of category. But the third category that I want to address is what Senai talked about, and partly it was my earlier training working with the schizophrenic patients. What do we mean by schizophrenic patients? These are patients, somehow, like what she was saying, suffer that makes it different from any other mental illness, is that they are detached at times, most often in fact, from reality. they have their own reality. They do hear voices, and they do see things. These are the hallucination, whether it's auditory hallucination or visual hallucination. So they live in a different realm of reality. They're detached. So this schizophrenia is one of the most heartbreaking illness. However, it is heartbreaking in a way, but things are changing. There are ways that we can take care of that. There are also other illnesses that are connected to mood disorder or depression, and the different kind of bipolar and so forth. Okay, that's the third category. I'm trying to make a fourth category almost. And then there are personality types of disorder, people who have psychopathic personality, people who have antisocial personality, and these are personality disorders that can cause harm to themselves or to others as well. So these are the major descriptions that we have. So mostly what we are addressing today is the one that is like schizophrenia, depression, bipolar, and so forth, because these are the issues that we do not talk about, that we have a lot of stigma and shame, as if it is a mistake that we made, or as if it is a sin, or as if we are bad people. So that's not all true. That is not all true. And one of the purposes today that I was glad to come and share this, we can actually, they are most of them treatable. Okay, they are treatable. We don't want to undermine, we don't want to dismiss it, so we want you to be aware, and that's the major. Illnesses can be caused, like Sanmai mentioned, it can be genetic from a family, but family problem is always minor. It is not significant. As long as the environment and lifestyle and our diet, our way of life, our thought pattern, our lifestyle, all of those will contribute. So that's why we have adopted an integrative approach where we can take the person's environment into consideration, the person's lifestyle, the person's chemical balance, all of those things. So it is a multifaceted illness in terms of its underlying factors, but my message is there is nothing impossible, and I'm here with two spiritual leaders. Nothing is impossible to God. So no illness is not curable, and that's where I differ from the medical model. So